Hello, everybody. It's Andy Smith with another book look for the week. This has got to be the fastest turnaround of getting a book and doing a book look in my history of doing these. By the way, 34-year veteran of the comic book industry. If you're new to the show, thank you for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe, all that. Every week I pull a book off my bookshelf, go through it page by page, and if it's available, put a link if you want to buy it. And I don't even get any money or anything for people buying books. I don't know how that stuff works. This week, I got Drawing Figures by Michel Lauricella. I probably didn't pronounce it right. I try. This is a 32-page book. Now, if you're not familiar with this writer, I discovered him through these little books that he does. Simplified forms, and these little books aren't expensive. They are 15 bucks. Each one of these is about 100 pages. I don't actually know. I probably should do my research on my channel if I've done book looks on these little guys. If I haven't, and if you want me to, let me know. So, because I'm not going to do them right now. Simplified forms. This is all about breaking down the figure into simplified forms, shapes. Really great book. Honestly, if you can draw a figure using these shapes, you don't even really need to know much anatomy. Clothing, folds and creases, joints, joint forms and muscular functions. This is a really good one. Fat and skin folds. I mean, this book is 94 pages of just talking about, I get to hands, of course, but just talking about fat and stuff. And babies, of course, have it. But then, of course, he goes through the full body as well. So really cool book. Muscled bodies. You know, if you're trying to draw superheroes and stuff, books like this are good. You might go, but Andy, you've been drawing comics for 34 years. Your anatomy, from what, if you know my work, is really good and stuff. Why do you keep buying books like this when you already have such an extensive library? The big reason is because I'm just fascinated by this stuff. I love it. I love seeing the process of other artists breaking down their stuff. So that's the big reason. Yes, because I still have How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. I've got all my Bern Hogarth books. I've got my main anatomy book from the Kubert School that I did a book look on just a couple weeks ago, and more. I just love this stuff. Face, head, and neck. So he really does a deep dive. Like I said, all these books are 94 pages or so. This one was $16.95. And then this one, come on, mammals, drawing animals, breaking them down, basic shapes. And he does go over some anatomy stuff, but shapes and stuff. Had to get it. I mean, honestly, had to, especially now doing Cordrath, who rides horses and stuff. And there's dragons and, you know. Anyhow, so those are the books. I actually get email. I subscribe to the website so I get email updates and stuff. So anyhow, if you want to see book looks of all these, let me know. There's 10 of these in total. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm trying to think which ones I'm missing. And just looking at it, I can already tell you he did do one on like hands, so I don't have that one. Others. Anyhow, finally, you say after about 4 minutes of blathering, on to this one. Drawing Figures. I saw this. I actually thought this book, this was $9.95. And that is the straight up price before any discount from Amazon, which right now I don't believe there is one. Anyhow, I thought this book was going to be the same size as this one. I love these little pocket books here. But it's 8.5 by 11, magazine size. And it's 32 pages. So right out of the gate, I was like, well, how much can this guy get into 32 pages? And basically, it's definitely not a book for the beginner. You need to have other books, whether the ones I just showed you or whatnot, on how to draw the figure, right? You get like Andrew Loomis's book on figure drawing. Honestly, that is just one, that's almost all you need. Anyhow, so you can see he doesn't spend a lot of time on stuff, but he tries to hit everything. So he starts off with, what else? bodily proportions. What's the proportion breakup of a figure? I do like this, though. He does mention in the introduction, unfortunately, the format of this book means that I can only present so much. This book is primarily intended for those who are just starting out in drawing and who want to draw realistic or semi-realistic human characters along the lines of many comics and graphic novels, animated films, and video games. So I thought that was pretty cool. Now, it does say for just starting out. Okay, you can gain a lot from this book, as I think you'll see. And yes, you can pick up stuff to literally start drawing after reading through this, but further explanation would be good for somebody wanting to draw. So anyhow, bodily proportions, head proportions, and this is what I mean. One page on bodily proportions, and to get real anal about it, he doesn't even really he doesn't show a man and woman. He just shows a woman. He uses 8 heads, but you can see the 4th and 5th head in a proportion system overlap. Which I get what it's doing, and that's a way to do it for drawing realistic figures, not heroic figures. Heroic figures, these would be stacked on top of each other. But there are neat things like, you know, the whole, I think this is from Leonardo, where, you know, your wingspan from going across is the same as the height and stuff. I mean, there's good stuff, and about, you know, when you sit down, somebody sits and they lose a quarter of the height. So stuff like that. So, okay. Then he goes into head proportions, the whole, you know, look at this. This is like the Marvel way, which John Buscema didn't make it up. So he got it from somewhere, but 5 heads across and stuff like that. Pretty cool seeing the baby there, and then the head proportions. Like, honestly, I've been doing this for 34 years. I never thought once, because I've only drawn kids and babies a few times, but the head is cut in half by the eye line, right? Well, on a baby, you basically can draw the typical oval, cut it in half. That's the eye line for the baby. And then the chin of a baby lines up pretty much with the mouth. So you know where the chin comes down. And then the cranium size kind of makes sense with the brain and everything. And obviously, you know, heads get bigger, so on and so forth. This is just for proportion measuring purposes, but how it lines up, the eye and then the top of the head. So, and then different, obviously, you can change the proportions for different head structures and such. I like this. He goes into one page on hair. Of course, I'm very familiar with the receding hairline like that. I believe if I grew my hair, I would look like this guy. So that's why I shaved my head. Goes into the eyes. Now, I will say, because I read all these books, sometimes I'll discover typos. Figure 3, right? So the eye. Just looking at it, he's talking about eyelashes, right? He goes, the eyebrows cast a protective shadow over the eyes and act like a sensitive filter. Okay, it should say eyelashes. But I do like the arrows here. So, and obviously that's a female right there. So that should say eyelashes, no big deal. I like this. If you're really drawing individual hairs on somebody's, they all do sprout a certain way. So that's cool. I love this little breakdown of a nose. So far, I'm loving this. I love this where, you know, the different type of brows and stuff. My God, he must have looked at Drawing Dynamic Comics. This is basically how I break down an ear. No, it's just the typical way to break down an ear. Lip formations and stuff. And then boom, hands. So you see what I mean? 32 pages, you get the basics. But is this enough for somebody just starting out to draw to be able to keep going? Or do you need, like this book probably could have been, let's say 64 pages, and he could have expanded on some of this stuff. But I love this stuff. so much. I mean, all the proportions he's talking about and everything, it's pretty much the same like any other book I've read, but you just see little cool things like flipping like this with the arrows and stuff. And I'm like, hey, I kind of do stuff like that. But then seeing, you know, how you do construct it and such, female, male hands, feet. I do like this one, the feet. Just another thing, like seeing the breakup of the ankle there. And then, you know, the mid part of the foot, the bigger part than the toes and such. So I thought this was pretty cool. I do like this simplified spiral of the bones and stuff. The skeleton. There you go. He talks about bony landmarks and such, which are definitely good to know. Bony landmark, that's exaggerated, but you get the idea. The muscles. So it's funny, when I saw this one and even these simplified drawings, my first thought was Dan Mora, who is a great artist working for DC now. I discovered him on a book called Klaus, written by Grant Morrison. Then he did some Power Ranger stuff I liked, and now he's up doing Shazam, Superman, all that good stuff at DC. And this, just the simplicity of it reminds me of his stuff. So, but I mean, honestly, guys, like, it's cool to see all the anatomy. I mean, it's not all of it, but you know what I mean. Most of it here on this drawing. But to draw comics, just knowing these basics right here and here, it's all you need. And like here. So 2 pages on muscles. That's good. Skin and fat. So here he's talking about how wrinkles form and such with various people. And then here he's talking about fat deposits, if you will, for the overweight or chunkier person. Simplified shapes. I'm glad there's 2 pages for this. I honestly can't remember if there's 3, and I just looked at this book 2 days ago, read through it. But this is it. This is, and kind of like How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. You have this in my book, Drawing Dynamic Comics, Simplified Shapes. But this is really what's key to making up figures and such. You know, adding the anatomy is secondary, and you don't need to be a doctor in anatomy, because it's really playing with the size of these shapes and stuff to get different size characters. That's it, 2 pages. Silhouettes. This is really cool, though. Just talking about how, for instance, this looks like it's with a marker, but he's doing these shapes with a marker. And then inside the shape, he's going in and drawing the figure. Now, obviously, he's been doing it for a long time, so he can do that. You're not just going to do that right out of the gate, but it's a good exercise. Filling empty spaces, really good. Talking about the forms. And then here I really like, because you can see, like, her head is here, but look, he's not really showing any tangents on this. And it's basically, I look at that like composing a comic panel and figuring out, if it's the first shot, where you're going to put the stuff in the background and stuff like that. So I thought that was pretty cool. Structure. This is something else I've never really been taught, told, whatever, but I do kind of do this. Limiting yourself to drawing only with straight lines will help you not to get into details too quickly. It's true. It's damn true. There was something else. Let me go back real quick that he mentioned. No, I don't think I got to it yet. He does, this kind of applies, but he also talks about, and it could be when he was laying down the marker stuff for the silhouettes, but he talks about, you know, starting big and then working small to the detail. And I've often said that's what a sculptor does. They take this huge piece of clay and they keep working on it and molding it and sculpting it. and getting down to finer details. Well, it's the same thing, you know, when drawing a figure, start big and then get down to details. This talking about alignment, weight distribution, and such. Outlines and continuous lines. This is really like out of a life drawing class in a way. When I took life drawing, not how to draw the human figure from a model, but life drawing where we had naked models, but it was about drawing what you see. Sometimes we would do like just the contour first of the person's pose, and then once again go in on the details and such. Key lines is another way of saying action line, but you can get the sense for what he's talking about. This I thought was good on perspective. When you're putting figures in perspective, always think of the whole shape of a figure like a big rectangle. It's easier to divide stuff up. This is cool. You look at this drawing here, and the camera's right at the base of that foot, and it looks totally right. And then you realize if you pull the foot over, just how much bigger it is in the foreground. This is also cool. You can see the body nice and clear. Bam, draw the hand, and he basically says it right here. You've got the hand drawn, and you only really see few overlapping shapes of the arm. Another good one on foreshortening right here as well. This is the outline of that. And of course it looks flat, but then you pop in the overlaps correctly, and look how simplified that is. That's what I'm saying. That's kind of really, and even this, just, it really reminds me of like Dan Mora. So good little chapter on foreshortening here. Or not chapter, but light and values. So goes into a little bit of the tonal work and lighting and such, using toned paper, pulling out highlights, you know, using toned paper and just doing the highlights. And you can see how just on this one on the left with two tones, white and gray, it looks dimensional, and then he adds black to it and it even looks more dimensional. So these are really nice. I mean, this one looks, if you squint, like I knew it was a drawing and not a black and white photo, but just at quick glance, it really comes across like a nice black and white photo. This is good. I'm glad he devoted 2 pages to garment folds, clothing and such. It's so important. And it doesn't matter how stylized you are. Getting the direction of the wrinkles right and stuff is what matters. It doesn't matter the finish. Jack Kirby would do stuff like this with just bold slashes of the pencil, but the way he angled them gave you the proper feeling. John Romita Jr., great artist. The way he does wrinkles is so simple. It's almost just like these bold lines here he'll draw. And of course you can get really detailed, but great little beginning on folds. And then that's it. So you see the book, like I said, it's only 31 real pages. 32 is just resources. And of course, the Morpho drawing series he recommends. Robert Barrett, Life Drawing, How to Portray the Figure with Accuracy and Expression. Jake Spicer, Figure Drawing, A Complete Guide to Drawing the Human Body. I don't think I've seen that one, so I might actually look that one up. So there you go, guys. I told you it wasn't going to be a long one. And let me know if you guys would like to see a book look for the next, I guess, 7 weeks where I break down every page of these books. I take requests. Thank you for watching. Of course, like, subscribe, and share. Check out andysmithart.com, coredraft.com. Links are in the description below. We are done fulfilling Core Draft, The Awakening. Thank you to all the backers. If you didn't get it, go to coredraft.com in the description below. You can buy it there. It's on the website now. And I'll be back next week with another book look. Go sign up for Lilineth, Infernal Conflict. That is the next graphic novel coming your way. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you.